Hi, I'd like to talk about attachment. In the Buddhist philosophy, they say that a lot of our suffering is caused by being attached to certain outcomes, certain ideas, beliefs, objects, relationships, our identity, our story of how we want things to pan out. We can become attached to all these things, holding on to them as if they're the most important thing that has to, stay the same or be realised. And because life isn't like that, the universe is going to take its course most of the time. You set out in the morning and, your day isn't going to go perfectly how you planned it. And so as your expectation rubs up against this, perfectly flowing and, kind of erratic universe, you're going to suffer if you're too closely attached to all sorts of things. So I can think about certain situations in my life recently where plans that I've made, or relationships that I'm having, work or personal relationships, aren't panning out the way I'd expected particularly. And so, there's been some tension there for me, there's been some dissatisfaction, there's been some sense of grief and loss and it was going to be like this and now it's like this, and that's just not how it was supposed to be, in the kind of story that I'd written for myself in my mind, the script. And it happens all the time, it happens to all of us all the time. Life takes a different course from what we expect, and our suffering is all wrapped up in this attachment to things, to certain outcomes. So what I would say is, it pays to check your attachments from time to time. Do yourself a kind of personal review of, especially if you're not really sure why you're dissatisfied. Sometimes there's a kind of underlying dissatisfaction or frustration or, tension in your life, and you don't actually always look at these things. So take some time out and just think, okay, well, was there something that didn't go how I wanted it, or something that I'm in the midst of that isn't really panning out how I'd expected, and did I kind of write a script for that hasn't gone the way it should have done? That would be an attachment, Maybe it could be my life as I wanted it at this stage, it just isn't working the way it's supposed to, Or it could be something very minor, just like the weather was bad on a certain day and you had something planned and you can't do it now. So do a little review of what's going on for you, and see what you're attached to. And I think that, hopefully that will be able to give you a bit more perspective on the fact that the way that you'd planned things out isn't, realistic always. We've got to give some space for the universe to flow in the way it does, because it's got its own plans, that if we take advantage of, and be more spontaneous, be able to flow with it and be more flexible, then we won't suffer as much. So that's the idea anyway.